Hey, welcome back. I'm excited to sit down with Matthew and Amanda, husband and wife team and founders of the Training Kitchen today. They have a really cool nonprofit happening there in South Austin. They're a local micro farm. They're producing some great food for a good cause. Let's go check them out. Amanda and Matthew, here at the Training Kitchen, South Austin.
That's right.
Learn about you guys. What do you call the concept? Is it just the Training Kitchen? Is that?
Yeah. So it's a nonprofit, but the concept is really grounded in a philosophy called asset-based community development.
Okay.
So the crux behind that philosophy is that when you move into a space, whether it's a neighborhood, a community, a city, you don't make assumptions about what that community needs. And so when Matthew and I bought this land 3 years ago, we actually partnered with El Buen, which is another nonprofit down the street, and a couple of churches, and did what is called a landscape analysis. And that landscape analysis actually told us what this specific community needs. And so if we were to list them, the first need is food security. The second need is access to adult education and upward mobility. And so that's what we do. We have 1.5 acres, and so we leverage our 1.5 acres to support the needs of our surrounding community.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so then Matthew, his role here is probably the most significant because when we're talking about food security, for us, it's really about allowing people to have access to high quality, nutritional, affordable family meals. And so Matthew is the one that really runs the urban farm here and really supports the work of one of our programs, which is called the Farm to Food Bank program. So baby, do you want to talk about?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's really simple. It addresses the first thing that Amanda mentioned earlier, which is the food insecurity aspect of this community, especially since the pandemic. I mean, it's been really hard. Things were so expensive and a lot of people lost work and just, everyone's hand to mouth. And so the food banks in this immediate vicinity were just overflowing. There's so much need. They're serving hundreds of unique families every single week. You know what I mean? And a lot of that food is, bless their heart, they're doing really, really good work. But a lot of the food that is distributed through those programs, are like processed foods, non-perishable items, things like bread, maybe a gallon of milk, but a lot of, stuff that comes in boxes, And so when you talk to the actual recipients of all that food, the one thing that they say is, man, it would be so great if we had like a little bit more protein, maybe meals that we could just heat up and go, And so we stepped in and, we have this 7,500 square foot garden down there. We harvest vegetables out of it and we turned it into, to meals like gumbo or soup or stews, things that are easily frozen, easily reheated, and you can kind of work off of it for a couple of days with your family, and we provide those for the food banks and they distribute them to all of their recipients. And it works really well. We're in a unique position to do it because we have this 1.5 acres. And so, yeah, that's kind of our main function, like in terms of our tangible, like what we do is the Farm to Food Bank program.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then the other significant piece of the Farm to Food Bank program is very much what Matthew brought up. We're responding to a direct need of the community.
Yeah.
And so not only do we want to feed them and we want to feed them healthy, nutritional food, we want to give them a piece of their life back.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people who are recipients of food bank services are working multiple jobs. So it gives us great pleasure to know that maybe, 1 or 2 times out of the week, they can just warm up something that has already been prepared on behalf of their needs.
Now, is that the same thing about like the family meal that you guys do here on site? Is that kind of the same thing?
It is. So the outward facing fundraising part of the Farm to Food Bank program are curbside family meals. And so you, Sean, you've done this a couple of times, right? Like you place the order online and those family meals come with, as Matthew mentioned, some gumbo. Mm. You also get a side of rice. You get 2 cornbread pancakes and a farm fresh salad. And we make everything from scratch. And so when you sign up for those family meals, they're $12 per person. You are essentially buying 2 meals for the Farm to Food Bank program. The other thing that I want to say is that I have celiac disease, and so it's all gluten-free.
Okay, nice.
Even the gumbo, even the roux in the gumbo is gluten-free.
Honestly, we don't like to tell people that until after they eat it, and then they're like, "Whoa," you know what I mean? But it's true.
We'll just edit that out.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Exactly.
Because we also
Yeah.
want people with celiac to be like, yes, we have
Yes.
another
Right,
restaurant.
yeah,
Now we
exactly.
have 5 restaurants that we can go eat at in Austin.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it's a good cause to,
Yeah,
to
exactly.
purchase.
It is a good
you guys
cause.
here.
Yeah.
Well,
Because like Amanda said, literally when you buy a meal from us, you fund 2 meals for the food bank. And I mean, that's pretty great. I
Yeah.
think.
It's awesome. So how often are you guys doing the family style meals? Is that every month?
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's once a month. And then we have also been running events, I would say.
Once a month?
Yeah, once a month.
Are you guys working with other nonprofits as well? 'Cause you guys have a partnership here with another.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've been partnering with El Buen Samaritano, which is they have a long-standing food bank, and they're like about a block and a half down the road. At some point, we would like to bolster that partnership. You know, when we were able to expand our capacity to that point, then we will. But yeah, they were involved with the initial study that Amanda mentioned.
And we also partner with Green Corn Project.
Yes.
Which is a long-running nonprofit in town. They've actually been around for over 22 years, and their mission is to teach people how to grow food in their backyards using the square foot gardening concept.
Okay.
And so they actually run classes out of the Training Kitchen's land, and they have a couple of demo gardens set up, and it has been fantastic. So they have now been a partner of ours for over a year. And so whatever way that we can help other people in our community, again, sort of bring their talents to the forefront, we're all over it.
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys want to talk a little bit more about the urban farm aspect of it? I know
Yeah.
there's chickens and goats. And
Yep.
I'm curious to, what have you guys tried to grow certain things here, or was the idea just certain crops and that's it? Like kind of.
Yeah, so I mean, at first we did a little bit of experimentation to see kind of like what would do well in our particular soil with our our set of criteria or circumstances. And as we've kind of progressed and we've started doing the family meals and the curbside and the farm to food bank, we've settled into a few different dishes that really work with what we can grow here in Austin. Gumbo being kind of the primary thing at this
Good gumbo,
point.
yeah.
It's good gumbo.
Thank
We're
you.
using a recipe that's been in Amanda's family for generations, literally. Her dad and her mom owned a barbecue restaurant in LaPorte, Texas, on the Houston Ship Channel. And before that, her grandfather owned it, and the recipe came from him, and who knows where it came from before that, maybe even further back than we even realized, you know what I mean? So we've tweaked the recipe just a little bit, but we're able to grow all the primary ingredients here very well. Onions, tomatoes, green bell peppers, and okra.
Right.
Because we use okra, we don't use fillet. We use okra for a thickening agent, and it just tastes really good.
Yeah.
Those things really do well. Okra is one of the very few crops that can withstand the Texas heat. And so we are leaning into that, you know what I mean? Stuff that can be used for a variety of different things, that grow well, that store well.
Yeah.
And so, we let that sort of guide our choices down in the garden.
And we always have a meat option and a vegetarian option. Other examples are chicken tortilla soup. So we can grow the majority of the ingredients for that. And that particular soup, including the gumbo, have a bone broth base. And so it's highly nutritional. I always think about the kids, it's super important for their developing brains. And then in addition to that, we've also gotten really good at growing cream peas and black-eyed peas. And so you've tried our black-eyed pea salad that people love. We've also come up with this signature sort of curry soups that are vegetarian.
Nice.
But as Matthew mentioned, it's really about growing ingredients for the family meals and just doing that really well.
And then I guess we should mention the goats too, because they're kind of like the star of the show when people come to visit. We have 3 Nigerian dwarf goats, and we got them from the breeder when they were like hours old, so they were bottle fed by us multiple times a day for months and months, you know what I mean? And so we've developed a bond with them, and they're super friendly, very domesticated and docile, great with humans, great with kids. And they also help us in the farm because they help us clear brush for one thing. And then they also generate a lot of compost for us. I mean, as you know, it's like one of the main things that they do is generate compost,
right.
you know, which is nice because we're trying to create like a closed loop sort of like nutrient system, like ecosystem here, where we make our own compost, feed it into the garden, you know, grow whatever we're going to grow, use it how we're going to use it. The scraps, you know, the animals eat most of the time, and then they turn it back into compost, you know. So it minimizes inputs that we have to buy off-site and bring in, and it just kind of like loops them into the whole system, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're hilarious.
They're really,
as well.
you can hear them back there.
They also completely put on a show when people arrive.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Two male and one female.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
yeah.
It's like, and they're all, I guess, teenagers almost now, right?
They really are.
Yeah.
They really are. Yeah. And so the two males, when like Amanda mentioned, when we're giving a tour or when they see strangers, they recognize. They start doing wheelies. We call it. They pop wheelies and then they like butt each other. It's not hard. It's like more playful than anything. But it's really funny and people love it. It's hilarious.
And then when the boys do that, Dolly the girl just goes up on the roof and looks at them like they're silly.
Yeah, there's some parallels between humanity and
yeah.
I don't know.
And the goats for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the future hold for you guys here? And I know obviously the pandemic kind of slows everything down, and
For sure,
coming out of that, I know that you guys are doing some bigger events now. Is that?
We are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we've hosted several weddings recently, and then we're really proud about the supper clubs that we've been doing. We've been partnering with some local chefs who are just like masters of their craft, and they've identified this space as just a really unique kind of location to host supper clubs. And so they've been putting on supper clubs using our ingredients from the farm, using our little outdoor kitchen that we've put together, and they've been going really well.
Yeah. And then we are preparing to launch some classes in the spring. And so, as Matthew mentioned, we're collaborating with some chefs. One in particular, her name is Deepa. We love her. And she and I are starting to talk about fermenting future food. And so we will most likely start selling tickets in preparation for her facilitating that class in the spring.
Yeah.
And so someone like Deepa, who's really good at fermentation, let's transfer that knowledge to community members so they too can be really great at fermentation. And her stuff is just delicious.
Now, would you say that she's will be doing some sort of education classes? That she will be kind of teaching these styles of things?
Yeah,
awesome. Okay.
And so the goal would be that, again, the training kitchen and the Farm to Food Bank program would receive, an allocation of those ticket sales. But let's say that we have a class of 20, 5 of those will go directly to community members for free. And we also want to hear from community members. And so if we have a community member come to us and say, I really want to teach pottery, okay, let's do it. Again, it's about creating pathways to upward mobility.
Nice.
So,
yeah, I mean, especially when this day and age, especially in a city like Austin, where the biggest barrier oftentimes is just the price of real estate, the cost of land, rent, things like that. Those are big time barriers that that we try to address and break down for people, and clear out of the way, basically.
Yeah, like we really want to serve people that can walk here.
Yeah.
We really want to serve people that can bike here. And really be embedded in this particular community. When we did that landscape analysis, we have about 60,000 people that are around our nonprofit that are struggling. And so we want to figure out how to support those 60,000 individuals by, again, leveraging talents, but leaning into those intra-community ties. So how can we align with the work that's already happening so we don't duplicate services and instead enhance all of the good stuff that is already happening in this phenomenal community? But one of the other things that is pretty important is that my mom is mother hen. She's the one who really manages the harvesting process, and she has a keen eye for harvesting when the time is ripe.
Yeah, it's one. Yeah, nice pun.
Thank you. I was waiting for some
You got one. One
acknowledgement.
point. Yeah, no, Donna is great. Donna, Amanda's mother, she's spectacular. And one of our secrets is actually her timing and her persistence. She's here every single day. Well, 6 days a week, because you help out sometimes. You know what I mean?
On Sundays.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, she harvests right in time, and I mean, there's not much that you need to do to a perfectly harvested piece of okra. Like, it's kind of speaks for itself.
Awesome, guys. Appreciate you
Yeah.
sitting down and carving some time out.
Thank you. Yeah, it's our
Learn
pleasure.
some more from you guys.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Hey, thanks for watching today. If you want to learn more about some of the difference makers in Austin, check out my other interviews. I appreciate you watching. See you next time.